Hello, hello, and welcome back to the show, to the C Morning Show, where we will discuss this time a youth-led decarbonization project which transforms waste into renewable resources and help reduce carbon emissions.
That's right, Tommy. Where let's imagine this: if waste we throw away today could be transformed into clean energy and useful materials or products, and that's exactly what these young pioneers are doing to revolutionize resources for a greener future. Now, to know more, let's welcome the Society of Renewable Energy Learning Management and Competency Development Specialist, Annisa Maharani, right here in the studio. Good morning, Annisa.
Good morning.
Thank you so much for being here with us. All right, so let's just jump into our discussion about your organization. I mean, we see there's a lot of youth-led organization right now that really inspire to decarbonize and also to tackle and mitigate the waste management. In regards to this, what is the initiative of your organization in regards to waste to energy project?
So yeah, for this project, we actually try to see renewable energy as a whole, not just wind or just those industrial scale renewable energy, but also more of like coming from the community. There are some renewable energies coming from the community. For example, like biomass residues, and we see that one of the most problematic biomass that in Indonesia or in agricultural communities in Southeast Asia in general are rice straw. So they tend to burn the rice straw after the harvesting seasons, right? So it's quite big, the open burning traditional ways of land clearing, right? So we see that kind of like one of the drivers of climate change, right? They not just about the carbon dioxide per se, but they also produce smokes, which it's also very bad for our lungs and health of the communities, right? So we try to see this as opportunities instead of problems. And we saw that there is a technology that could transform these biomass into something that is useful. And what we call it here is treasure, you know, because we can produce heat coming from the syngas. So the syngas will be burned into heat. And when we are burning this biochar, the leftover will be, when we are burning this biomass, the leftover will be charcoal. And if we put it in the field, it could become a biochar, which is very good for soil enhancers. So that's what we're doing in here.
Yeah.
All right. So, so far, which regions actually have implemented this project?
So for this project, we just have implemented in Lampung.
Lampung? In
Lampung, yes. So for the decision making to choose this area, we have some category. So for example, if you want to put biochar into use, which is put it into the soil, then we have to see the characteristic of biochar itself. And biochar tend to be alkaline, so if we want to make the soil will be enhanced or more of rich or better, we need to find the acidic soil. So that's what we see all over Indonesia. We have some other options before, like in Yogyakarta, for example, but then, the soil is not very acidic, so if we put biochar, it's not going to be any different. So we find that in Lampung, the soil is quite acidic, so that's why we go here. And one of the most important part to choose the area is to make sure that there is a business that we use our syngas or the heat that is produced. And we tend to find small scale business of tile kiln, or a business that we use in here now is corn drying. So they use the heat coming from the syngas to dry the corn in flatbed dryer.
Yeah,
Speaking of which.
Yeah, share with us.
He's the only one that I recognize from
Exactly.
Okay.
Yeah, what do you have here, Annisa? Maybe you can share with us examples.
Yeah, so for example, for this one, we have, so one of our main goal is the rice straw actually, but for now, rice straw is quite seasonal, right? So it's not going to be there the whole year. So that's why we have to come up with a more sustainable way of making sure that our feedstocks are sustainable. There are a lot of feedstocks along the year. So we try to use another feedstock, which is corn cob. So Pasupar, the businessman that we're working with, he produced a lot of corn cob residues, and mostly they only like buried it in the soil, and then let that anaerobic digestion do the work, and then of course more methanes to the atmosphere. So we asked Pak Super, how if we turn this into something that may be beneficial for you to do, do the, like it produces heat, right? So it can more of like circular into his business as well.
Yeah.
And Pak Super agreed, and we tried it, and turns out the biochar is quite good. So it's actually
That's the biochar.
That's the biochar.
Okay.
So we have sent this to the farmers there, and we have very good feedbacks that turns out their soil is quite good on the yields when they apply biochar.
Oh, okay. So it's great that we know that the community also is very opening up to this. Now, again, this is what I'm very curious about, because this is a community-led. In regards to this, how the, especially those that maybe are living in some suburban area that is not aware, with waste energy and how you can turn, waste into, a renewable energy. How are they open to this adaptation for them?
Actually, they're not open yet. So.
Okay. Is that a bit challenging for you?
Yeah, that's actually one of the most significant challenge that we have. I mean, for rice straw burning, they've been doing that for God knows how long, like centuries, right?
Yes.
That's a
It's
traditional way.
heritage. Yes,
Exactly.
yes.
All they know is just like, oh, if we want to make for a new harvest, we have to do the land clearing. But
Yes.
if we take out the rice straw and then sending it somewhere else,
Yeah.
it will be very costly, right? So
Yes.
what we do, just burn it.
Yeah, it's very easy,
Exactly.
cost effectively for them.
Exactly, but they're sort of like oblivious about the health consequences that they may have, right? And of course, for
Yes.
climate, that's quite far from them to know about climate change and stuff, right? So that's one of our strategies as well, not just like making the technology works per se, but also try to incorporate these idea into the way of living in the communities.
Yeah.
So that's why we're getting so much help from Pak Supar, the businessman, that welcome us with this technology, because when we approach for example, like tile kiln or brick kiln, they're not very supportive because they're doing business, right? So, if you want to try your new technology in my business, would I get any incentives, for
Right.
example, right? That.
Yes.
And what we like about Pak Supar, because he is very opportunistic about new technology, so that's why we really like to put this idea into his communities, which is quite good so far. So Pak Supar is quite good at spreading the word as well about what we are doing in here. So that's why the farmers actually accept our biochar and actually implement it to their soil, and turned out it's quite good.
So in terms of, expand and also to collaborate, so you mentioned about the challenges as well.
Exactly.
So how do you conquer that? And do you, other than, help from
Pak Supar.
Pak Supar, for example, so are you planning to collaborate more with certain people that can educate other people as well?
Yeah, that's actually the work of our team in Lampung from SRE Universitas Lampung. And what they do is also getting to know the people there, because if you want to help them, you really have to know them, right?
To localize.
Exactly.
Right? Yeah.
I mean, like, each community is quite unique,
Yes.
If you go to this part of Lampung and then the other part of Lampung, it will be very different. So
Yes.
we have to see it case by case, what they do in the communities and how it is working in the communities, and try to incorporate it step by steps, I would say. So not very radical, I want to implement this, and could you please do it? Of course, they will say no. So yeah, it's more of like, and we are also wanting to make this community scale level, so it will run by the community. But so
Right.
far, we're still doing the job because it's only like been a year, right? It's been a
It's
year.
just 1 year.
Oh, you're 1
It's
year.
it's been a year.
How many people in your team are you doing?
So in my team, actually I'm working from Jakarta, so I'm more of like supervise and advising and dealing with the team coordination and stuff. But in our team in SRE Lampung, SRE Universitas Lampung will be around 40 people. But the one who keeps coming to the sites and do the work, mainly the engineer from environmental engineering, Universitas Lampung, it's around maybe like 5 or 7 of them.
Right. And in regards, you were talking about technology now. Now, how did your organization come up with the technology? Is this also a collaboration act with, other partnerships?
Yeah, actually for the technology, our donor connect us with the engineer coming from the Philippines, Mr. Lucio. He has a business called Flame of Hope. So he has been making this, gasification for making biochar and stuff, and also the heat mostly for maybe like 15 years and 20 years. And we also know that turns out the gasification to make biomass into something that are valuable are quite common. Like in Philippines, it's been going on for years, and also in China, it's been a lot of stuffs there. So in Indonesia, we haven't seen any of that. So that's why we want to try this one out. And turns out the technology that is made by Mr. Lucio is quite good in our case. So yeah.
And also, we're very similar because we're from the Southeast Asian
Exactly.
countries, right? So we're on par, especially with the Philippines.
Yeah, and especially when you mention about challenge, what other major challenges do you face at the moment, other than to make people to believe this type of stuff? Yeah.
So the challenges will be the resources, because the one who runs it is students. So sometimes when they have like exam seasons, they cannot do it. So we have like idle time, maybe like a month or so until they come back again. And not to mention that the area is quite far from the city of Lampung, so it's quite remote. So they have to commute take sometimes like 2 hours by motorbike. So that's also the challenge. And what we are having now is actually making the rice straw work. So for now, even though we have the biochar, but we see that it's not quite, I would say, like the best form, because so far the rice straw that we have is always wet. So in regards to a biochar making or making this process work, we have to have dry feedstocks. And we try to tackle this one by incentivizing the farmers. We want to buy your rice straw. Instead of you just burn it, we don't get anything, right? We want to buy it, but could you please dry it first before we do it? But they're quite reluctant, because all they want to do is just like, oh, I want my land cleared.
Done.
Exactly.
Yes.
I don't clear.
You do it.
You do it. So okay, and we don't have the resources, like I said, because the students not there 24/7. So yeah.
Would climate change affect on this? Because we know that now, usually Indonesia comes with dry and rainy season. Usually we know when the time or the month. But right now, due to climate change, we never know. I mean, it just started raining now, early November. I mean, back in the days, let's go 10 years, in the past, it started on August or September. Would that also play a role in this?
Well, in terms of the rice straw that is wet, I'm not really sure about that, because when they harvesting the rice straw, they come out wet, but they just want to get it away, right? So it's not being dried. But what we have seen of that climate change challenge is that when we get the rice straw, mostly it's raining, so that's what make our rice straw even wetter than before.
Right.
So it gets harder to even dry it in a day.
Yeah.
So yeah.
So they would need a space, let's say, right?
Exactly.
Like a roof on top, so then they can dry again.
Yeah, that's
Alright.
also quite a challenge, because now it's more of like we're renting the place in Super place, so
Yes.
we don't own the land, right? So we cannot
Yes.
just like build something for that
Right.
one. So
I know you mentioned about resources as part of your challenges, but how about the technology? Do you find any challenges towards that?
So for the technology, it's quite good so far, technology-wise. But I think we have the challenge on the materials of itself. So for the past 1 year, now we are seeing that our gasification get a little bit of corrosions, and we have to make repairments and stuff. So for technology-wise, it's working. You just need to have like a tune-in, because
Like a service.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So that's why we also flight our engineer coming from the Philippines, Mr. Lucio, to Lampung just to make the tune-in, and he can get it right in just 1 day.
Right.
While we are working out on that, it takes like 2 weeks. It's still not getting that.
Well, and they say, again, this is your organization has just been implemented in 365 days for 1 year. And you're already going thus far. And it's quite, even though with all those challenges, you succeeded, right? Within just 1 year. In regards to that, though, we want to know also the Society of Renewable Energy, What would be your short plan now to your long-term plan? Let's say from 5 years as a short and 10 years as your long-term plan.
Yeah, okay. So actually for Society of Renewable Energy, we've been here for like 5 years, but this project alone, it's been in a year. So what we want to do now in the short-term goals will be making these technology works in the best way possible. Like for any feedstocks, we're done with rice husk and also corn cob. Very good, very well. But for rice straw, we need to find like the right tune-in, and it's quite a challenge. So we need to do more testing. And what we want to do more is that in the long-term goal is that we want to make these biochar as a carbon credit.
Okay.
So for making that carbon credit work is that we need to certify the biochar, which means that we have to make sure that the process-wise it's certified and verified and stuff. So that's why.
How long does it take for that
Well,
to get certified?
I'm not sure how long, but we need to get it tested first. Like our donor once told us to send the biochar to Europe to get it tested. But for making the carbon credit, we have to make a certain amount. So for this one, for this project, we only get a biochar 13 kilogram per one time running. So if you want to apply it for carbon credit, we at least have to make a replication of 10 gasification. So that's quite a challenge, but we're going there, so that's why,
All right, so you mentioned about Lampung and then Jogja with its problem. So are you planning to expand to other region, for example?
Yes, of course. We're planning to expand to more area. Again, this is like more of like local action of tackling climate change,
Yes.
right? And I think it's not quite booming in Indonesia now. We're thinking about carbon capture and storage and all those industrial solutions, but on the local level, we can do that as long as we have, again, tackle all the challenges, for example, like communities barrier, technology barrier. That's why we're trying to solve now. But yeah, it's quite replicable as long as we have more support, of course, and trust. Maybe it will be easy if governments know and they sort of like promoting our idea or projects to other areas to tackle the agricultural residue burning. So it's going to be good, I think.
And definitely, if we want to talk about renewable energy, it takes a lot of role. And this also, a huge part of it is the youth. So how do you engage with them and inspire them that this is actually your role to play?
As part
in
of the,
tackling, all this, challenges and to find the solutions, such as what's given now by the Society of Renewable Energy.
Yeah, so I think it's already embedded in every members of Society of Renewable Energy because I used to be on Society of Renewable Energy in University Indonesia. So we have like student chapters across Indonesia.
Okay.
There are like 40 of us, student chapters, and all of us are being, educated by the renewable energy trends and also the technology on our student chapters itself. So we have when I was in University of Indonesia for being the member there, I was having like a weekly meeting with the higher level of our organization to really learn about something, for policy, coming from policy, economic, and also technology. So we are quite equipped with everything, and also we have so many webinars and also workshops along the year coming from the headquarters, which I was in now, Society of Renewable Energy Indonesia. And that's sort of building the feeling of change makers within the youth itself.
Yeah.
So actually, I'm here for this project. I started out as a researcher for the health, safety, and environment, but then I helped the donor to manage the team as well. But the team is already, self-starter themselves. That's why I really like being in this part of the project because they know their responsibility and they want to really make a difference. Sometimes they also propose to me something that, we need to do this and do that. Oh yeah, that's good. What I really like is that they have the sense of belonging of the project
That's
itself.
good,
Yeah.
And you guys are really a change maker, by the way.
Yeah.
A solution maker also.
And you collaborated with a certain level as well, like local people, universities, private sectors.
Yes.
How about the government though, so far?
For the government, we haven't talked to the government yet. I think we want to keep it that way for the moment now because I think the project is not I think it's not, well, best yet. You know, we're trying to make it better, and really good that we can pitch to the government, and government agrees with what we are doing. So and we want to really...
Especially in terms of policy, right?
Exactly, in terms of policy. So we really want to bring the whole solutions to the governments, you know, not just like partial idea that we have done this, but we're not, you know, good yet at doing this. We don't want to do that. So make sure that we have it on our, you know, on our terms is good enough, then we will bring to government.
All right, and Annisa, lastly, especially for this project, Waste to Energy, how do you pursue this to be a sustainable project?
So what I see on, you know, making this a sustainable project is that making sure that communities agrees to do that, because I mean, we're just the starter to make this project, but we really want to make this a community project, the village project. Maybe in the future we can get engaged with the local youth organization in the community. What do you say? I forgot. Karang Taruna or stuff. So maybe like, we engage with them and ask them to, you know, run the project independently. And of course, the project needs to have its own demand, you know, like people from Pak Supar who really needs the heat, for example. And of course, the willingness of the farmers want to put our biochar into the soils, because that's the purpose of these project anyway, for carbon sequestrations. If it is just like this, just like charcoal, we don't do anything about that, right? So we really need to make these biochar into the soil in terms of, sequester the carbon that's supposed to be being burned by them, you know, and then we put it in the soil instead, so.
Yeah, well, Annisa, thank you very much, though, for elaborating with us in regards to your project, the Waste to Energy project, and also your organization, the Society to Renewable Energy. Thank you for making a change.
Thank you.
Thank you for your advocacy, and you know, send our regards to your team also. Thank you so much for being here.
Pleasure's all mine.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, folks, we're taking a short break right now, but when we return, we'll still have many more interesting stories from around the world. So stay tuned right here on the C Morning Show, only on See Today. We'll be right back.